Natsu Dragneel is an orphan child when he met a dragon for the first time, but the dragon, instead of eating him, Neel decided to take him in and raise him as his own son. Since then, Ingneel, the fire dragon king, became Natsu's father figure and taught him how to speak, read, and fight using magic, turning Natsu into a dragon slayer mage, a mage so strong that has enough power to kill the most powerful beings on Earth, dragons. But after some years of sharing their life together, Ingneel suddenly disappeared, leaving Natsu alone in this world. Until he met Makarov, the current guild master of Fairy Tail, the most notorious mage guild in the kingdom of Fiore. Natsu grew up and became a carefree and reckless boy who usually takes care of issues with his own fists. After some years looking for his father, Natsu finally gets a clue about Ingneel. He heard rumors about a salamander who uses fire magic and gets into it with his partner, Happy, a cat. While expecting to finally reunite with his adoptive father, meanwhile, the so-called salamander walks along the road and all the females fall for him. That's who gets there and notices he isn't Ingneel. While confronting the salamander, they break the love spell he uses on one of the females, Lucy. Lucy thanks them for saving her from falling for a creep's love trap. She takes them for lunch as a reward, then tells them she is also a wizard looking forward to joining the Fairy Tail Guild later. Natsu overhears that a salamander is having a boat party, and they overhear the salamander is a member of the Fairy Tail Guild. They break into the boat and find out it is still the same guy who plans to kidnap some girls, including Lucy, who hoped the salamander would recommend her to join the Fairy Tail. Happy drags Lucy away, and she uses her spell to drive the boat to the shore. As they get to the shore, Natsu gets angry at the guy for calling himself a fairy tale wizard. He screams that he belongs to Fairy Tail and he has never seen that man before. Lucy is shocked to see that Natsu is a Fairy Tail Guild mage as he shows everyone the guild crest on his shoulder. That's who is fuming in anger and doesn't care if those guys do good or evil, but the only thing he will never allow is someone tainting his guild's name. The dupe attacks Natsu with fire, but as a son of a fire dragon, Natsu eats all the fire which powers up his magic and spits fire from his mouth, destroying everything around. He further engulfs his fists in fire and punches the dupe away, destroying part of the city as an aftermath of the ruckus. Soldiers arrive, and he drags Lucy to run with them, promising to take her into the Fairy Tail Guild. They get to the guild building, and Lucy is welcomed by everyone while Natsu tries to find a new mission for them on the task board. A young boy, Romeo, visits the guild and complains to the master, Makarov, that his father, Macau, a Fairy Tail member, has gone to Mount Akobe but hasn't returned. Makarov refuses to do anything, but Natsu, who is also looking for his father and feels Romeo's pain, decides to find Macau. He walks to meet Romeo, who is sadly walking back home, and tells Romeo he will bring his father back to him. He starts a journey to Mount Akobe with Lucy and Happy. Lucy wonders what Macau came forth, and Natsu informs her he came to fight a Vulcan monster. This same monster appears and kidnaps Lucy. Natsu goes to fight the monster but is thrown off the cliff inside an ice cave. Lucy tries to defend herself, but Natsu suddenly jumps in and hits her celestial spirit magic, being Matsu. Then, he starts his fight with the monster, telling him that no one messes with his guild member. He invokes his fire and punches the monster, telling him he isn't leaving the mountain without Macau. The monster brings out Lucy's celestial being's legendary axe and tries to slash Natsu in half, but Natsu holds the axe with his hands and starts to melt it with his fire. He drinks the melted iron parts and uses his fire fists to completely defeat the monster. The unconscious monster suddenly changes into Macau, as it previously stole his body. Later, Natsu and Happy visit Lucy's home and ask her if she will join their group for their missions. She instantly agrees, and they set out for their first group mission to take a book titled A Break from its owner, Everlu. This same guy is hiring, and she loves pretty blonde ladies. Lucy realizes she was tricked into joining them but can't go back on her words. They meet the client, KB, who tells them the book must be burned immediately, and he has increased the fee to 2 million jewels, as the book is too important to him. They arrive, and Lucy fails to get the main job because Everlu calls her ugly. So, they change to Plan C, to steal the book. They sneak into the house and get to the library, and they see the book they are looking for. That's who attempts to burn it, but Lucy insists on reading it while they argue. Everlu arrives, he calls the book stupid, and the team wonders why their client wants them to destroy a book that is stupid. Everlu calls his warriors to fight the team. Lucy hides while Happy follows to help her, and she eventually finds the book's secret. Meanwhile, Natsu uses his fire on them, but they neutralize his flames. They combine their powers and attack Natsu, deciding that there is no way he will survive. But Natsu comes out and spits out flames against them. They use a defense technique that captures flames and returns them in double fold, but Natsu eats the fire and roasts them with his fire dragon wings magic. Meanwhile, Lucy tries to resist against Everlu, who also uses celestial spirit magic and calls his celestial being to fight. Suddenly, Natsu also appears with the celestial spirit because he held on to her. The duo easily subdues Everlu and takes the book to KB to finish the quest, as the book was written to him. They leave, and on their way to the guild, they meet Gray, another guild member, who informs them that Erza is returning that day. But the team is broke since they didn't get paid for the last mission, and they ask Lucy to pick another duty for them. Natsu argues with Gray, and the strongest female member of the guild, Erza, arrives. Suddenly, the guild gets silent as they are all scared of Erza, and she asks Natsu and Gray to meet her at the train station the following day for a mission. They meet her there and they take the train at Magnolia Station. On the train, she tells them they are invading the Eisenwald Dark Guild house because they are in possession of Lullaby, a magical flute that kills thousands of people who hear its sound. At Anaba's train station, the others leave Natsu on the train due to his motion sickness. He meets a boy from Eisenwald Guild, Kageyama, who attempts to bully him, and since he is also weak, he can't fight back. He sees a skeleton-like object with Kageyama before he jumps out. He meets his colleagues, and Erza apologizes for leaving him. He tells her about Kageyama and the skeleton-like object that Erza assumes will be the flute. They drive to meet the train at a train station where Kageyama delivers the flute to Irigar. They find out Irigar is going to Ashibana Station and meet him there. He tells them he wishes to broadcast the lullaby for the city to hear and calls his wizards down, then disappears. Gray and Natsu follow Irigar to find him, as they both have in mind that losing Irigar will be the end of every human at the station. While Erza and Lucy fight the wizards, afterward Gray and Natsu separate and look for him in different places, while Erza goes to announce to the bystanders that they are in trouble and they should run away. Gray fights a member of Eisenwald who confesses to him that their primary mission is to destroy Clover Station where the guild masters are having their meeting. Erika puts a wind barrier around them and then goes on his mission. Natsu and the others try to find their way into the station. They have been locked in. Kageyama finds Natsu again and attempts to fight him, but this time Natsu has all his strength and uses his flames to destroy Kageyama's shadow magic and push him back against the wall. Erza and Gray try to interrogate him, but one of his colleagues stabs him so that he won't help them. The members of Fairy Tail are helpless. Natsu knows that his guild master is at risk and tries every measure to break through the walls but keeps being thrown back. Even Gray advises him to stop trying, but he refuses to accept defeat. Eventually, he remembers about Lucy's magic and asks her to call her magical creations to help them. Happy gives Lucy Virgo's celestial key for Lucy to summon her and make a tunnel underground to escape. Natsu gets to Irigar, who thinks that Natsu is a weak fighter and attempts to shut him up. He uses wind magic, but Natsu uses his flames to jump and then strikes with his fire. Irigar is shocked. He figures he has underestimated Natsu's strength, so he jumps and uses his Stormbringer against Natsu and defeats him. He thinks about the guild master as he falls down, but he suddenly remembers that Mikao taught him that if he channels his fire well, no wind will be able to defeat it. He directs his fire properties to climb up to the train trail. Irigar is shocked as he thinks it's impossible. Natsu spits heavy fire on Irigar, but he blocks it. Irigar realizes Natsu is stronger than he thinks, so he uses his storm mail powers against Natsu and hides in a wind barrier. Natsu uses his fire dragon fist to break through it but fails, as Irigar claims that fire cannot beat the wind. Irigar uses his wind against Natsu, and he falls. At that point, Irigar assumes he had defeated Natsu, but Natsu gets up as he cannot allow losing his guild master. However, none of his fire skills can go near Irigar, and he gets frustrated, especially with Happy mocking him, telling him he's too weak and should leave the job to the strong members. Those words enrage Natsu, making him intensify his fire, and then he finally beats Irigar with his fully powered-up fist. His mates arrive with Cage, and they appreciate his hard work as they stand to decide their next step. Cage takes the lullaby and runs away. Cage determines to finish what his master has started and goes to the Clover, where he meets Makarov. The team finds their way to Clover and eventually gets to Cage, but Makarov has convinced Cage to drop the lullaby. Suddenly, the lullaby switches on, and Makarov tells them the lullaby is a forbidden spell created by a dark wizard named Zareth. A demon created by Zareth emerges from the flute and starts to terrorize the people with his sounds. Erza tells Natsu and Gray to approach the demon, who starts with an irritable loud sound. Erza uses her night skills to fight, while Gray uses his ice lance, and Natsu finishes up the demon with his fire dragon iron fist. The demon keeps revolting and starts exploding the terrain. As usual, Natsu swallows the fire and climbs on the demon. Erza attacks again, and Gray uses his ice magic before Natsu uses the flames of his hands to create a fire dragon brilliant flame to defeat the demon. As everyone jubilates this win, the flute cracks by itself. They return to the guild, and Natsu, determined to show that he is stronger than Erza, plans their duel. As they fight, the guild council members come to arrest Erza for the destruction of property during their last fight. Their master knows Natsu may attempt to rescue Erza, so he imprisons Natsu in a cage. They eventually realize that the person imprisoned is Mikao, who accepts to do it so he will repay Natsu for saving his life. Natsu, on the other hand, attempts to save his friend since he considers everyone at the guild as the family he never had. So he heads to the council to save Erza. He breaks into the council, cross-dressing as Erza, and also gets imprisoned in the prison. Erza tells him she was arrested to show the council's superiority. They need to demonstrate they have the ability to maintain order in the magic world. Furthermore, they would release her, but he spoiled her plans. The following day, they are both released. As they return, Natsu insists on continuing the fight despite Erza telling him she is tired. He rushes to fight her, and she finishes him up with a punch. He attempts to fight another strongest member, Laxus, who asks him to come upstairs, but he can't reach level 2 because he isn't qualified to reaffirm his strength and skills. He sends Happy to steal a level 2 task from the second floor. They visit Lucy and ask her to join them as they rescue the cursed island of Galuna, but she reminds him they aren't at that level yet and she isn't interested. They leave her home and drop the flyer. She finds out that the reward for the task is a celestial spirit key, which she crazily wants. So, she decides to join them in their new adventure. Watch this next video.